just works, you know. I haven't had any problem with it at all. I can still breathe really good. I always check the filters and stuff after I go through the car wash or when it rains, and it's never been wet. It's never had any issue. And I don't know, I just think I kind of lucked out because I didn't really plan on it. I just did it for kind of cosmetics. So, yeah, it's pretty funny how that just happened. I also cleaned up the headlights really good. They used to be really bad. I mean, these things were like terrible, and they kind of look, you know, a little dirty because I didn't wash the car in a couple days. But, you know, for how they looked before, they were pretty bad. I mean, this Turtle Wax kit I got, man, these things work, dude. For real. I mean, in the sun, these things are like diamonds. It makes me extremely happy. This lip that I got is brand new. This is a JP style Amazon front lip, and it does look fake, but honestly this piece is, I mean, this is a daily car, so this piece is gonna get messed up. It is gonna get road rash. It is gonna get stuff on it, and I mean, for $100, I think it was like $109, and these fake carbon tie rods actually too were about I think like 19 bucks. For like 130 bucks, I just basically put all this stuff on the bottom of my front end, and the wrap was like 12 bucks. That piece was $25. So yeah, I mean, like I said, the freaking K-tuner was like 300. These wheels, I traded somebody a condenser I got for free, which is nuts too. This is a crazy story. So I went on Facebook Marketplace and I got for $40. I found this dude who was liquidating a bunch of shit from a shop, and he gave me the engine harness and the computer for a 2018-2019 Honda Accord. Fucking nuts, right? For 40 bucks. And he also gave me a condenser, brand new condenser, and I forgot something else. I can't not remember right now. But I got a ton of stuff from that dude, right? Put it in here, took it back to the house. And I sat on the harness and the ECU for a while. But the condenser I traded for these wheels, these Koenigs, because they're 17s. The CRZ comes with 16s, and they look like puny little dinklings on this car. But honestly, 17s kind of do too, but you know, you gotta do it within reason. This car is pretty puny. It's not like I'm, you know, big spending on this car, but I am, you know, doing something to change things like the way it looks, how it sounds, how it performs, and just how it drives. And I gotta say, you know, honestly, these two cars as a combination, it's pretty sweet. Now, I do have a surprise in here. I haven't really, some people know about it. I've talked about it a little bit, but basically under here, let me just get this out. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to show you a recent kind of, you know, accumulation of things that I've gotten, some for money, some not, but right here I have, all right, go ahead, move the plastic from this thing. So basically, what we got here is, or was, a fully complete K24 A4 from a 2004 Honda Accord. And this thing was fully together when I got it. But I have the majority of the parts on the shelf. It came with, I mean, almost everything except for power steering, AC, and it had a power steering delete pulley on it. and the complete harness, 2 boxes full of the engine harness, and the ECU from a 5-speed manual coupe. So the car already has K-tuner. Yeah, I mean, there we go, you know. I was under the impression that I couldn't even use this motor, which bummed me out, because, I mean, look at this thing. The crank spins like super easy. The engine was healthy. I took it all apart. I can show you some of the parts I have just lying on the shelf in a minute. But yeah, I got the valve cover sitting there, intake manifold with the throttle body. I got all the EGR stuff, coolant stuff, housing, thermostat. I got a ton of piping. I got the whole valve train, cams, valve cover, you know, everything up, top and low end. You know, this thing, like I said, I could have just dropped it in the car, but I had no transmission, no mounts, no axles, none of that. So I took it apart, inspected it. I saw an example from some people on YouTube called Southern Gears, and if you don't follow them or whatever and you have a CRZ, I suggest it, because these dudes put one of these old Accord motors in a CRZ and it runs. I don't know how these guys did this, but they obviously know what they're doing with the harness and wiring, or who or what, I don't know, they figured it out. Definitely a worthy investment in the CRZ, because this motor out of the box comes with, I think, like 168. So that from like the 130, 133 tops that it comes with stock, I mean, you know, it's already apart. So obviously I was planning on doing away with the oil pump, which is a disaster contraption. Just basically slows down the oil flow for economy reasons, and I'm looking to replace it with a Type S pump. You know, I don't want to go crazy like fully built or something, but I mean, maybe like port polish, some better cams, cam gears, 50%, so we can, you know, unlock some tuning potential and have a car that weighs 2,600 pounds, which is the same weight as like the older Integras, but has a K24 in it. And I think it'd be really cool. It'd be different. To my knowledge, there's nobody in Arizona that has a running example other than like Hasport or something, and they're Hasport, they're a whole company. I don't think anyone just owns that car. So I mean, to me it seems like the race is on, and hopefully maybe one day I can be the first person in Arizona to have a K-swapped or a K24 swapped Honda CRZ. Like I said, I got this motor for pretty cheap. The car, obviously, you know, I had to get at a pretty high rate just because, like I said, I never had any credit history or anything, but I feel like it was definitely a worthy investment. And I feel like I actually got kind of lucky, you know, because some people don't get to own cars like this and get to do stuff like this. And it's like, here I am, super blessed with a family, a house, 2 cars, and eventually I do need to get a car to replace this. So, you know, this being recycled JDM, you know, obviously I want to get a beater Civic or something, you know, a sedan, and then do little cosmetic mods to that and get this thing prepped one day to have this motor in it. But that will probably be very far in the future, depending on where life takes me. I mean, you know, but I do love the idea of having something that's totally different, totally unique, and is just fun to drive, fun to own, fun to experience. So with that being said, I'll show you a couple things. Whatever, that's the oil pump I'm probably gonna replace or modify. There are some videos of that. Brand new exhaust gasket for a K24. some of the coolant stuff, alternator, some pulleys, the EGR stuff. Yeah, the whole freaking intake manifold, pan. There's tons of stuff in boxes too. The valve covers there, the cams, the gears still attached to them. The whole valve train's all zip tied and sealed up. A ton of exhaust brackets and mounts and stuff I probably don't even need, but I mean I have. Yeah, these are some of my welds. Not the greatest, but honestly this is the first time I ever even tried anything like that. And I only had 2 hours to mess with this MIG welder, and I mean I feel like if I bought a MIG welder and practiced, you know, I can just go ahead and make a ton of stuff I'll need, man. It all sounds so simple. There's the water pump. There's freaking all the bolts and tons of other junk. The pistons. Like I said, everything is here. So, question is, how's it gonna happen? Well, I gotta figure out a ton of stuff. What transmission, axles, how am I gonna do this like harness wise? Then I have to get it tuned. Obviously, like I said, I'm gonna replace some parts like pistons. It's gonna have some internals, probably some springs, some valves. Like I said, I'm gonna do a little bit of work to the head or the sill, yeah, you know, but I'm not gonna go crazy. And yeah, hopefully I'll do the boys proud and have a running, working Case 24 swapped CRZ. And who knows, maybe this thing, once it's paid off, you know, I think this thing would look pretty cool with a roof rack, you know, maybe on some airbag, on some nice rims and tires. This is the year they started doing the like painted body panels, which are cool. I think it looks super good with the gray. The gray itself looks really nice too. I mean, it's metallic pearl. It looks great in the sun. I like the blacked out chrome. It looks nice too. This car kind of needs a wash, which we have no excuse. We have a little tag to go in the wash, you know. But this car is, you know, not super powerful. It only comes with like, I think like 146 horsepower or something like that. But this car is a sport all-wheel drive, which means this thing has a differential and 2 axles and a drive shaft. So, interesting thing about this car is they make this car in places like Europe with the 1.5 turbo from the 10th gen SIs, which is funny enough because the engine in that is an L series. But anyway, none of those cars are all-wheel drive. They're all front-wheel drive. So it would be pretty cool to have quite possibly the only turbo HRV that's all-wheel drive CVT in Arizona. I think that would be really cool. It'd be different, unique. This thing, if you've ever seen these modified, they actually look really dope, I'm not gonna lie. And if you think like the HRV is kind of like a weird, you know, kind of quirky car, because it kind of is. They've been making these things since the 90s, and Mugen made a ton of shit for this car too. So honestly, I mean, HRVs do have a little bit of a history, and I never thought I would even want to do anything to this car. But funny enough, here, let me show you. So before I show you the engine bay, I'll just show you the interior a little bit. The examples that I was talking about, like in Europe earlier, how I was mentioning, they have like, you know, red leather seats and stuff. And red leather accents on the doors. They're really nice, and they're all manual, like I said. Oh, mistake dirt. I was gonna pop the hood. Like I said, I really need to clean this car. This is the family car. This is the beater. So that's why we got the modified nozzle for the baby seat. But really quick. So I've always wanted a front mount turbo car.